If you go to page 1 in your textbook, you see another Cro-Magnon invention we didn't talk about in class, and that is the visual arts, painting. On the screen you see a photograph from the caves at a place called Lascaux. That's in the south of France. I'll put the word Lascaux up on the screen where you can see how to spell it for those of you who don't quite have the textbook yet. If you have the textbook, you see the word Lascaux in the caption there. Well, on the screen you see a photograph from the cave paintings at Lascaux. In your textbooks at figure 1.1, you have this photograph of another part of Lascaux. We find prehistoric cave paintings all around the world, really. Certainly all over Asia, Africa, Europe, where we find Cro-Magnon populations. But these are the most famous, the ones at Lascaux. They're the most famous because they're the best preserved. A mudslide covered up all the entrances to the cave maybe 26,000 years ago, around in there, and it kept out the outside air from reacting with the paint. So whatever oxygen was in the air inside the cave reacted with the paint, and then when that reaction was over, they were preserved, and they looked pretty much like they looked, say, 26,000 years ago. Nobody knows what these paintings were for. You might think that they're just paintings on a wall where somebody might have lived, just like we have nice prints hanging up and down the hallway here in Building 8. But whatever these paintings were for, one thing they weren't for were decorations on the wall where anybody lived, because no one ever lived in this cave. You can tell pretty quickly whether anyone's ever lived in a cave, because if they lived in a cave for any time at all, outside of emergency situations, well, they would have a campfire for light and warmth. And if you build a campfire inside a cave, it isn't very long at all before right above where the campfire is, there's a big carbon circle that forms on the ceiling of the cave. If you go inside a cave, you can see where people have been before, because you just shine a flashlight up on the ceiling and you can see where those carbon circles are. And while there aren't those carbon circles in this cave, whoever went into the cave carried around torches for light and that kind of thing, but it didn't stay in place long enough to leave those kind of carbon circles. So there's all kinds of guesses about what these paintings were for, but nobody really knows, because whoever made them couldn't write down their story and tell us what they were for. The same we can say for the small statuette you see if you turn the page once to page 2 in the textbook. A sculpture called the Venus of Willendorf. I've got that spelled out for you on the screen here. Obviously that's a name we've given to it. We don't know what the original owners called it. It looks kind of strange, looks kind of weird to us, and that's because we don't know what it was for. Whoever made it, whoever owned it, couldn't write down their story and tell us what it was for. And so there's all kinds of guesses, but nobody really knows. But I can tell you that it meant something very important a long time ago, because it meant something to somebody, because it took an awful lot of time to make. I made a joke in class about giving you a homework assignment about making a knife out of a stone. Imagine making one of these out of a stone. It took an awful lot of work, and so it meant something important to somebody a long time ago. A little less strange looking is another little sculpturette here. It's about 1.5 inches tall. The Dame à la Capuche, the Lady of the Hat. It's a very old sculpture. Again, it meant something very important to somebody a long time ago.